All right.
Perfect.
Okay, so good to have you all here. We are going to start out. I'm going to get going on our keynote here, and I think that
Can,
should be.
can you all see the
Can everyone see that?
screen now with the
Yes.
Okay,
slides?
Yes.
awesome,
Thank
awesome,
you.
perfect. All right, so as you may or may not know, some of you know us and some of you don't. I'm Dr. Joel Dayton. I'm a chiropractor, and
Yep,
Crystal.
Dr. Crystal Nix. I'm also a chiropractor, but also I do acupuncture and a little bit of what's called neurological technique. So we also do a lot of nutrition in our office, trying to make sure that people can rise to their fullest and do so, not necessarily having to have us always do the treating, but be able to take care of themselves. So that's why we love doing these types of equip workshops. So each of us and our families, we can rise and being able to feel like we can take care of ourselves and help ourselves to feel healthier.
Yep. So I am going to ask you all to can mute and unmute when you have a question, because we are getting a little bit of feedback right now. So muting would be right now. Let me see if I can. There we go. There we go. Okay.
Perfect.
I'm going to mute a couple of you. No offense, but feel free to unmute because we want to hear you. But we're gonna go ahead and mute you for really quick. Okay, cool. All right, so we're going to talk about how you can get the most out of your food. So we're going to focus on how not just eating food, but actually digesting your food is really, really important. So you can eat all the healthy food you want, but if you're not getting what you need out of the food, then it's really not doing you very much good. And this is the point that we really want to drive home. A healthy digestive system helps your food go in you, be like integrated into you rather than just through you. It would be a shame if the food just went straight through the chute and you never got to enjoy any of the benefits of actually eating the food. And so we're going to talk about how you can actually have a healthy digestive system and what that means. So this is straight from the dictionary. Digestion is the process of breaking down food into substances that can be used by the body. So I want to hone in on a couple things here. The process of breaking down food. So that's one point that I want to hone in, and we're going to use a couple of these quotes or definitions to explain what exactly we're trying to get at. So we have digestion is breaking down the food. Now, absorption is making sure that the food is actually getting into the body, right? So if you have a healthy digestive system, then you're going to maximize the amount of nutrients that get into the body. And that will lead to nutrition, or the process of providing and obtaining food, obtaining the food necessary for health and growth. So I want you to kind of take a mental picture of this and think about this clearly. If you have proper digestion, meaning the food is able to break down and then it's able to be absorbed because you've got healthy organs, then you're going to maximize the amount of health and growth that you can have. All right. And today we're going to talk about how you can do that. So, first of all, I want to talk about the digestive tract, and we're going to make this super simple. We're going to talk about 4 organs of the digestive tract today. Well, actually, 5 technically, but we grouped 2 together. So, first of all, we have our stomach. So, the food's going to go down the esophagus and into the stomach. Next, it's going to pass by the pancreas, right there, happy little pancreas. Then it's going to travel into our small intestine and into the large intestine, and that's where I was saying we're grouping 2 together. We have small intestine going into large intestine, and then last of all, it's going to be filtered through the liver. And so it'll go over the intestinal wall into the bloodstream and then filtered through the liver. The liver is going to take out a lot of the things that are toxic to our body. So we're going to talk about what this process is and how we keep each of these organs healthy, because if we have healthy organs, like we talked about, we're going to have good absorption, we're going to have good digestion, we're going to have excellent nutrition or the ability to grow. Okay. So Crystal's going to start talking about one of the first organ that it hits.
So, and we're calling each of the different organs like almost like a kitchen tool, just so that you can kind of relate to it a little bit better. So the stomach we've called the crock pot. So this, as you can see, we've got, it's where everything starts to tenderize. And that's mostly because of the hydrochloric acid present in the stomach. And it really just helps to start the degrading process of the food that we've chewed up and swallowed, and now it's starting the digestive process. So the main point is it really needs to remain acidic. We also do want to preserve that mucosal lining of the stomach so that that strong acid, that hydrochloric acid, does not get too strong where it could create kind of holes within the mucosal lining, where those holes are called ulcers. But for the most part, we know the stomach really well as a group here. So some of the feelings that we might have if we have stomach related symptoms would be more like that reflux, that kind of that acid reflux, or anything that kind of is burning, that heartburn feeling, or just that discomfort right after eating. So if it's later, that's going to be further in the digestive system, which Joel's going to go over. But if it's pretty much immediately, like I've eaten and it's like 15 minutes later, so that's going to be more the stomach that is causing your discomfort. So we're going to go into a couple things that can actually help. So something that we have found is that alkaline water can do a lot of good for the body, but the thing is the first organ that it hits when we drink it is the stomach. And again, we want it to be an acidic environment. And if we start to mess with the pH of the acid for the stomach, it can create some of those issues of what we were kind of mentioning before, with potential ulcers or just shifting the pH balance and therefore the mucosal lining, and also the degradation process of our stomach, helping to break down our foods. So another thing that could be very helpful is before sleeping, we want to have a few hours. So kind of like starting our fast for the night, about 3 hours before we actually go to bed. So let's say I'm going to sleep at like 10 p.m., right? So I want to stop eating preferably around 7 p.m. I know that doesn't always work with our crazy busy schedules and kids and homework and sports and things like that. But it would be better if we can get that 3 hour window. 2 hours, again, that's better. But as long as we're not like, okay, I ate and now I'm going straight to bed, that is when we start to see the heartburn really showing up, because we've got this full stomach and now we're going horizontal, and all that acid and that food getting broken down is now just going to go back up the chute, because our body's in this relaxed mode, and the that sphincter for the esophagus and the diaphragm and the stomach there, that's just gonna, it kind of flaps open as we're resting. So that's why we want to be awake for about 3 more hours after eating. And also just being mindful and sensing, okay, what foods might create more kind of that heartburn feeling, or just the discomfort feeling. So if it's more like tomato sauces, that tends to be a common one. Like, in the pizzas or the
For me, I don't do well with tomato sauces.
Yeah. Or like barbecue types of things, that if we start to notice, all right, these stronger, kind of more acidic types of foods are actually pushing me overboard in my acid production, then okay, let's maybe hone it in and maybe have that more like during lunchtime, if at all. I know we don't really do much of it at all because we recognize it tends to affect us. So the nice thing is sometimes we are eating really healthy actually, and we can still deal with some discomfort when we're digesting. So The first oil that I actually started using in doTERRA, and that was 10 years ago, is this. It's the Digestion, and this is something you each have. So if you've got a little envelope and you have that tiny little vial of essential oil, that is Digestion. So I first invite you to go ahead and open it and take a whiff.
Pull those out.
Yeah, and I'm gonna let you know all the different the blend of oils that's in there. So it's ginger, peppermint, caraway, coriander, anise seed, tarragon, and fennel. So these are all just on their own wonderful at helping for our digestive system, and therefore blended together, they can have such a wonderful relief to our stomachs. So again, this was what I first started off using because I had really terrible digestion, and I'd done so many changes for my diet, but I still was dealing with digestive issues. So this was the first thing that I started to use. So what I invite for you to use, and I am 8 weeks pregnant, and so smells and strong flavors are a little bit too much for me right now. So I'm going to let Joel be our guinea pig to show you how to use this.
So I like to use it a couple ways. When you're having stomach problems, you can take it, just put it on your finger. So if you have your little bottle, you can just tap it on your finger if you'd like. I'm just going to take our big bottle and come like this and get just some oil. I'm going to come and I'm going to put it right over my belly, or right over my stomach where it burns. So I get a little burning belly right here. So I'm going to put it right there.
And your stomach, it's the one right below the rib cage.
Yep. To the left.
So,
if you're going down, follow your sternum and go down to the left right in here. So.
Was there a question?
Nope. Someone needs. We're gonna mute someone really quick.
Unless you have a question.
Unless you have a question, yeah. Okay. Okay, cool. So you can go ahead and put that over your stomach, and then you can also use this internally. So way I like to use it is just to take a couple drops of it right on my tongue or under your tongue. So you can just go straight in.
Another option could be in water. So you could do a little drop in water, and therefore it could be a little bit more diluted. But I love the flavor, typically, other than pregnant times. I don't know. It's just not, it's too strong for me today. But after the first trimester, I think we'll be good friends again. So what did you guys think? Any thoughts on the flavor, on the sensation maybe? Because sometimes you can have an immediate sense of relief after applying it topically or even having a little internal. Go ahead, Sarvita.
Did you have something to say?
I have a question.
Yes.
One day you say avoid alkaline water. Can you tell me why? Because that's the only kind of water I drink.
Okay, yeah. So it's mostly because of the fact that it can change the pH of our stomach. And since that's meant to be more on the acidic side, and we're pulling it in the opposite direction of alkaline, we can make it where, okay, now our stomach is going to have to overproduce in hydrochloric acid to rebalance itself out. So, you know, maybe having some alkaline water as well as the like regular water, because that will help balance out your pH.
Okay.
The other thing that I was going to add is if it is in an alkaline state and if there's not enough acid, it won't break it down enough to actually be used properly lower in the digestive tract. So if the stomach doesn't break it down, then when it gets to the small and large intestine, it can't get all the nutrients it needs out of it. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yes.
And
thank you.
It is such an interesting topic because alkaline water can do so many great benefits in terms of helping radicals and really with inflammation. But it's a challenge because of the fact that it can shift the water. I mean the pH of the stomach. But we can have a lot of alkaline foods where that can still help us have that alkalinity without it having that major shift on the stomach where it starts to have to create the hydrochloric acid in overproduction. So
does
that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
Wonderful question. Cool. Awesome. Great.
Thank you.
Yes. And any other questions or feelings with the Digestion there?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Please, Rose. Yeah.
Okay, does it matter how much water as long that it's not over 8 ounces?
Correct. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, some to each their own in terms of the water. Like it can be, you could do like a tiny little, almost shot size. And if you just have one drop, that way you're having a diluted amount, and maybe it's not as strong as just doing a drop under the tongue. But you can be able to do that drop on the tongue directly as well. So that's why it's actually pretty flexible in terms of how much water that you drink.
Thank you. I'm enjoying the drink right now.
Oh, good.
Sure.
Good.
For all of us.
There you go. Good.
Awesome.
Cheers, everyone. Great. Okay. And then the next one here that I did want to cover as well is chamomile. So this is especially good. So Digestion can help with the heartburn as well, but because sometimes if we're dealing with that acidic feeling, it can almost feel too strong. So if we're feeling like I need something milder, then chamomile is really great. This is actually, it can help even with the ulcer types of sensation that I was telling you about earlier, because it's a really great support for mucosal lining. Chamomile is really helpful that way. So that's just another added thought there. And I realize we haven't been checking the chat. So, okay. Okay, and that was a great point, Kim. Yes. So the alkaline water comment, especially with meals, that's a great point. So maybe if we're doing it some of the time, then maybe having it at a different point of when we're actually eating, because that's when we need our hydrochloric acid the most to help with the breakdown of our food. So great. Okay, perfect. Now what we'll do is we're going to move into the pancreas here. Is this view okay for you guys with the slides? Because it just allows for us to hop back and forth with the chat and everything a little bit better. So
I'm okay with it.
Okay, thank you. Good feedback. Okay, so the pancreas, again, back to our metaphors, we're calling this the nutcracker. So the reason for that is because the pancreas is really this manufacturing storehouse of enzymes. And enzymes are what help break down our foods. So especially as you see here, it can help break down the fat, sugar, and the protein. So we've got protease, lipase, these sorts of enzymes that help in the actual degradation of it. Whereas again, with the stomach, it's softening it, and now it's time to pull it apart so those molecules could be sent to the body and serve our body well. So things that have digestive enzymes in it naturally occurring are raw foods. So especially raw fruits and vegetables provide that to us. And so if you sometimes have some trouble with being able to eat raw foods, even lightly cooked foods, as long as it's not at such a high temperature and it's for very long, you can maybe still be able to preserve some of it, but again, just lightly cooked. So let's go ahead and go into a little bit more here for the pancreas. So yes, here it tells you that 80% of our fruits and veggies, eating that raw, that will provide us naturally with digestive enzymes. So we can break those molecules down and absorb it. Just going back to what Joel was saying earlier.
Well, and you can see why an apple or an orange or something like that will actually start to degrade is because it has enzymes already in it. So it's when you eat the raw vegetable or fruit, it will break down itself while it's in your system because it has those enzymes in it. So if you can
the
eat
browning,
yep,
that oxidation effect.
If you can eat raw, that'll help it help you be able to have more enzymes in your system. And then there's also other ways to be able to support that.
So this was the other reason why I had started doTERRA. It was again, my digestive history was just not, it wasn't working for me. And so I needed some extra help. And so the enzymes made such a tremendous difference. I was using this and the Digestion every day for about a month. And then gradually I was able to do less and less because my digestive system actually started to heal itself. So what's in here is, again, the different types of digestive enzymes, and they're coming from whole foods. So especially from papaya, as well as from pineapple stems. And then they also have in here some of the oils. So it has the peppermint, ginger, and caraway. So those are going to bring, if let's say, for example, I'm doing Digestion and I'm just maybe doing it topically, or if I'm just doing it like maybe like a drop on my mouth, that when it's in the capsule version, now it's going to go further into my digestive system because it takes a little bit longer to break down that capsule for it to actually now be delivered deeper into the digestive system. So, and they're just like little regular little capsules there. So usually if you're dealing with digestive issues, it's good to take 1 to 2 per meal. And then you can start to see, all right, I'm starting to feel better. Maybe I'll do it with just bigger meals. And at this point, we really just use it as needed.
Yep.
Just if like we've eaten out or it's just been a like uncomfortable kind of meal, then we'll pull out our Terrazyme. Any questions on that one? We will go ahead and keep going then.
There we go. So the next stop in our digestive tract is our small intestine. So the small intestine, our analogy here is it's the juicer. So if you've ever used a juicer, you know that it spits out this pulp on one side and it spits out the juice on the other side, as you can see in that picture right there. Yeah. So this is what our body does. It will actually squeeze the food, and it's going to squeeze out all of the nutrients that it needs out at this point. So you're going to take vitamins, minerals, proteins, fats, and sugars. You're going to squeeze it out, and you're left with all this pulp that becomes our poop later on. So this point in the tract of your food, this is where the majority of your absorption takes place, and it's going to come through the intestine and pass over the intestinal wall into your circulatory system. It's going to go into the blood and start circulating throughout the body and be used accordingly. So something that's super important about this doesn't necessarily happen to you. This isn't specific to your digestion, but it does have to do with a healthy digestive system. Sorry, there's a car in the background here. But a lot of people don't know this, but 90% of your serotonin is created in your small intestine. Serotonin is your happiness, well-being hormone that makes you feel calm. So if you have a healthy small intestine, you're going to be able to create this and stay in a more emotionally stable state. So really, really important that we keep our small intestine healthy. We're going to then move on to the large intestine. What happens in the large intestine? If you've ever used a dehydrator, this will make sense to you. So a dehydrator, you take your fruits or vegetables and you stick them on this air dryer, basically, that takes...
All right, we're going to move.
Sorry, there are 2 cars outside right now. Sorry, we're going to try and move. They're not ours. They're honking. Sorry, guys. Hang on just a second. I'm going to move over to this other table. Interrupted, but not defeated.
Right.
All right. Sorry about that. Okay, so a dehydrator. So the large intestine is like a dehydrator. What is happening in the large intestine is we are absorbing most of our water here. We're taking water out of the remainder of what becomes our poop, and it is going to be absorbed back over the digestive wall into the blood again. And then we are also going to have high amounts of bacteria here that break down our food even further. So we're basically getting every last little bit of nutrition out of our food here. Then the food is squeezed and then processed so that we can get extra vitamins out of it. Okay, so that's what happens in the large intestine. So how do we tell if the large intestine is not healthy, or the small intestine, both of them. Here's a question. How is your gas? We actually all produce about the same amount of gas every day. We pass gas, and here's something to note. If your gas is smelling pretty foul, if it's smelling like it's been cooking too long, this is a sign to us that maybe our small and large intestine are having some problems. Okay, it's a good indicator. Also, if you experience bloating, this is another good indicator to tell you, okay, this is a time when my intestinal system is not working properly. Now, why would you get bloating? A big reason can be that we're actually not breaking down the food, and then the bacteria is feasting on it at that point, and it's multiplying and causing that gas to happen. A lot of times that has to do with sugar. That sugar will get down into the lower large intestine, and the bacteria will feed on that and proliferate. And that's what will cause that foul smelling gas. So if you have that, you can kind of understand, okay, this is what might be going on in my intestinal system, okay? So how do you create a peaceful intestinal system, small and large intestine? First, so we talked about raw veggies. If you tend to notice that you are having problems in the lower intestinal system, cooked veggies will actually be maybe a little bit better for you, because you're actually helping it break down to a further extent, so that the vitamins that you eat are able to absorb even more, which we call bioavailability, okay? We already talked about this. Unhealthy bacteria like to feed on sugar. So please, please, please try to eat as little refined sugar as you can. Only do complex carbohydrates. Simple carbohydrates are not your friend, and they're going to cause further gastrointestinal problems. They're going to cause that bloating. They're going to cause that irritation, and they're going to cause overproliferation of unhealthy bacteria in your digestive tract. Then, whenever you, I know a lot of people, it's common to be on an antibiotic for a certain amount of time. If you've had a bad infection or something like that, if you can avoid antibiotics, please try to avoid antibiotics. What happens when we take an antibiotic is it wipes out bacteria. It wipes out bad bacteria that's in your system, but it also wipes out all the good bacteria that's in your digestive tract. It's not going to completely wipe it, but it's going to minimize it quite a bit. And as a result, you're actually going to have a harder time digesting your food. So ideally, we want to make sure that we are limiting our amount of antibiotics that we're taking. And then if you do take an antibiotic, you've got to throw a probiotic back in, because you need to make sure that you're getting the healthy bacteria that help break down your foods back into your system. If you feel that you're having problems in the lower digestive tract, small and large intestine, like we talked about, the bloating, foul gas, things like that, a good thing to do is to use these ones. It's GX Assist. So if you look at that slide there, GX Assist helps to stamp out your overproliferation of unhealthy bacteria, okay? So it'll actually help limit that. Then PB Assist, which is this one right here, is a probiotic. Now you'll notice we have two probiotics on here. We have the PB Assist and the PB Assist Junior. I'll talk about PB Assist first. So the cool thing about PB Assist, if you can see that, it's got this great, it's got a two-tiered system here, a two-tiered pill. On the outside is a prebiotic, which is basically food for the bacteria, the probiotic that you want to build. It's a time-release capsule, so it actually will help it pass through the stomach and into the small and get to the large intestine where you want it to get to. And then at that point, the prebiotic opens up the outside capsule, and it will basically help feed I should say seed the ground for the bacteria, the probiotic, to actually grow. So this is a fantastic product. It really is good at helping to reset that lower digestive tract. Now, another one that we liked is this PB Junior. This is for people who cannot swallow pills, one, if you are not a pill swallower, or you have children that are having digestive problems, or you just really like the flavor because it's got a nice flavor. So let me tell you a cool thing about this. It is microemulsified, which means they've actually covered it in fat, little fat droplets. And so what this does, it's a live bacteria that will actually pass through the digestive tract also, through the stomach. Because usually if you take a probiotic and it doesn't have that, or it doesn't have a time release capsule, then it's actually going to die in the stomach. It's going to hit the stomach and be deactivated, which is sad. It's kind of a waste. So this is cool because they've actually done microemulsification, which means that they have actually covered it in little fat droplets so that it can withstand that and go through into the small and large intestine. So we asked, this is funny, we've been handing these out to our patients, and just so they can be on the call and they can use it if they'd like. And I left it at the office. So we asked our friend Jeanette, who has it, if she can lead us out and show us how to use that.
Okay, yeah. So everybody should have a little sachet of PB Assist Junior if your person gave you one. If not, maybe you have some already, or you can get some. They're discounted right now on your doTERRA site because they have some that are about ready to expire, so they want to get them into people's hands. But you can do this a couple of different ways, and the easiest, quickest way is just to, like my kids like to call them healthy pixie sticks. So you just take it internally, and then, or if you don't like to do that, you can dissolve it in water also and do it, and then have it as a drink. So go ahead. Sometimes the PB Assists are a little bit more tricky to open, and if that's okay, just get some scissors and cut off the top, and then take it. And so go ahead and open it up and partake. That's what I'm gonna do. I gotta put my phone down for a second though.
While you open yours up with the tricky.
Yeah, to open it up. Yeah, I know. I have scissors right here so that I can cut it off. Boop, just like that. So, all right, now I got it open. All right, so I'm just gonna.
There you go.
Strawberry is so delicious.
It does.
Strawberry and watermelon.
Mm-hmm.
What is that, Crystal?
I was saying it does have a great flavor, and so hence that, and the way that you can take it in, it's
yeah,
it does remind.
It's naturally, yeah, it's naturally sweetened. It doesn't have any, but it tastes like it's not, which is amazing.
Yeah.
And the fact that they took into consideration, like Joel talked about, the encapsulation, so that our bodies are getting it where it needs and not being destroyed by our stomach acid. Yep. And that's one thing that I really appreciate and about doTERRA is how they are considerate. They really want us to have the best, and they take the time and the research to develop products that are effective and not just going to go pass right through like a lot of the synthetic things that you find out there on the market.
Yep. Awesome. Thank you, Jeanette.
Yes.
And thanks for saving me because I didn't have it.
Sure enough. I'm glad I got home in time to do that because I was running a little bit late. But I did see in the chat that Dee Dee had a question about.
Oh, yeah, Dee Dee.
Yeah, and on her
team, like when I eat more broccoli cauliflower, I seem to get more gas. Ooh, great question. Crystal's going to answer that one for you.
Yeah. So because sometimes they're cruciferous vegetables, and so they are ones that do tend to be a little bit harder for us to break down, especially in their raw form. But even still in the cooked or steamed form, they still can have that odor. partly because they just inherently have that odor to them. And so that's why we can just be a little bit more odorous when we eat them. And you're not the only one. Most people, or a lot of people, I should say,
You're in great company.
experience similar feelings there. It's got more sulfur in it, and so it just has a little bit of a stronger odor.
Now, something you can do, you can use Terrazyme to help
Yes.
break it down a little bit more completely, and that will help. Yeah, because that has the digestive enzymes that will help break it down, so it's not quite so stinky.
Yep. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Can I say
good
one
question.
more thing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
please.
I just wanted to say that before we move off of Terrazyme, one of the things that I like to do is sometimes is I actually use Terrazyme often for muscle recovery, because it's the same kind of enzymes that help your muscles recover faster also. So you can use it for
Good point.
digestive or also. So
Great.
anyway, just a little fun fact.
Little hint. That's great.
Yes,
So when
yes.
do you use it, Jeanette? Do you use it just like on a regular basis to help with that, or just like when you're doing heavy workouts?
Yeah, more of the heavier workouts. Yeah, or and I often take it when I'm going to bed, so that it helps my body with the recovery faster, because your body's recovering when you sleep. So
That's a great hint. Thank you.
Yes.
Spoken like a true pro. Thank you.
Thanks for the tip.
Awesome. Okay, so the next organ that we're going to talk about is the liver. So now let's take you back. It's gone through the stomach. We've gone past the pancreas, released our enzymes. We've gone through the intestines, small and large, and it's gone over the intestinal wall. It's gone into the bloodstream, and all of these nutrients that we digested are now pumping through the body. Now, when it pumps through the body, it's going to pass through our biggest filter. And I gave the example here of a water filter in the body, right? If you've ever replaced a water filter, like one that goes under your sink, if it's taken a while since you've replaced it, it will look like this one on the right, and your water will not be that beautiful. But if you're replacing it, if you're cleansing it, then it's going to be like this one on the left. Obviously, you don't want your liver looking like this. When we let our liver, if we're not giving it things to take down inflammatory processes, if we're not doing things to be able to help cleanse it of fats, we're going to end up with this gunky liver, like on your right. I mean, that's not your liver, but I'm saying you're going to end up with your filter is going to end up looking like that. And when your liver looks like that, unfortunately, you're not able to process things the way that you need to process things. And you create a large inflammatory process for yourself. So every single thing that you digest, everything that you eat has to be processed through the liver. It travels through it. It's a filter, just like our water that comes into our house, right? So anytime you're eating unhealthy, high fat, unhealthy fats. So we're talking like omega-6s and things like that. That's going to lead to inflammatory processes happening in the liver, high amounts of sugar. That's going to accumulate in the liver. You're going to have inflammation happening. So how would you know if you were having liver issues? So this is symptoms that are common for people with liver issues. The liver is trying to detoxify your blood. When it has a problem where it can't get enough of the toxins out of you, it will start to detoxify by bumping them out and pushing them onto the skin. It's trying to get rid of toxins. And so people that end up with rashes,
like eczema, psoriasis, even.
And consistently, like this isn't like a once in a while rash that you rubbed up against some poison ivy or whatever. We're talking about consistent rashes. That is a good sign that maybe your liver is having some issues. Here's one that a lot of people don't know. If your poop floats, floating poop, I know, TMI, but we can all be grown up here. We're all adults. If your poop floats, that means that it has more fat in it. And that means the fat's not digesting properly into your system. And that oftentimes means that you're having some liver issues. Okay. So these are two signs that maybe you need to be able to better support your liver. How can you do that? One, we already said, limit your omega-6 oils. These are your vegetable oils. Where do you find your vegetable oils? Lots of processed foods. They'll put vegetable oils in them, right? Also, don't make sure when you're selecting salad dressings for yourself, they're loaded with vegetable oils. We're not talking olive oil, right? Olive oil is completely different. But if you're looking at soybean oils, peanut oils,
Canola.
canola, yeah.
It's not even a vegetable.
It's not even a vegetable, yeah. So any of those, they're going to be high in omega-6 oils, and you don't necessarily want them. We have a lot of them in our system, and we don't need that. I should say our food supply, we have a lot of. We don't need that, okay? Omega-3s are what we want. Avoid refined sugars. Wow, that one came up again. That must be important. It's going to be on the test at the end here, guys. Avoid alcohols. Alcohol can be hard on your liver. So if you can avoid it, your body has to detoxify, and it'll have to take it out of the bloodstream. So if you can avoid alcohols, please give your liver a chance. And then Zendicrine. This is a supplement that can be used to help detoxify your liver. So in Zendicrine, it has a lot of different herbal remedies that can help take the inflammation out of it and cleanse your liver. Making sure, basically, you're giving yourself a new water filter, right? By cleaning out, you're putting a high pressure hose to it and making sure that it's clean, so it can take all the toxins out of your blood again. Okay, so that's something that I like to use. Zendicrine. All right, so this is kind of a breakdown of how the different organs that we've gone through and what we like to use to be able to help support them. So the stomach, we talked about the Roman chamomile and Digestion. The pancreas, we like to use Terrazyme because that's going to be able to help increase our enzymes, right? For our intestinal system, the GX Assist is going to be able to take down our bacteria that are not healthy, that we've had a bacterial overgrowth. Our PB Assist and PB Assist Junior, that's reinstalling the healthy bacteria that are going to help break down our food, and that helps you get all the nutrients out of your food. And then the Zendicrine is the last one that we talked about. Zendicrine helps with detoxifying the liver so that the liver is able to take all the toxins out of the bloodstream. So, oh, Krista, go ahead.
And something that I wanted to add is just seeing all these different products, you can think like, I don't know which ones I might need. By all means, like, we're happy to talk, as well as the person who invited you can help you to see, okay, what would maybe be best suited for you. And doTERRA has created a, it's like oh, here it is. Perfect. Okay.
Can you all see that?
The 30-day cleanse. Did it change?
It doesn't
no.
show?
Okay.
Okay.
So what we'll do is we'll swap it out. And I love this because when it comes to like using probiotics and using something like GX Assist, or even like the Terrazyme, we need a process there. We need to be methodical in the sense of like there's what's called weed, seed, and feed our gut. So if you think of like a garden, we might want to weed out everything first, really detoxify, take that out. Now we're going to seed it back in with the probiotic, and now we're going to help feed that probiotic. We don't necessarily need to be taking probiotic every single day, all of our lives. Like that actually can be too much. And so that's why I really like their protocol here. Is that something that's showing up at this point or not yet?
Can you guys see that?
No.
Yes, well,
Okay.
Not now.
Let me go ahead.
yeah, we did, and then you switched it, and now.
Okay, sorry about that. Here it is.
That's okay.
Okay.
There you go. Now I can see it.
Yeah, now you can see it.
Okay.
Thank you. And let me go ahead and see if I can zoom in a little bit better here.
I don't think you can.
let's see. Oh, perfect. Yeah, they're at the bottom. Okay. So like, you know, here just having a base with the vitamins is great, but the Terrazyme, that's actually one that you can do every day. Especially like in my case, originally with my digestive system, I did need it every day. The
And
Zendicrine,
not forever.
right? Not, it wasn't forever.
Like she doesn't
was
use
only
it
a month.
now. She uses it only rarely.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and then the Zendicrine, that can be one that you can do throughout. And there are two types of Zendicrines, but basically this is the one where it's going to help kind of weed out, as well as the GX Assist. That's, I call it like the bomb, like where it like sets off this bomb in your gut and just kills basically everything, but especially the bad stuff. It kills, like it
But it
just
doesn't kill
kills,
it doesn't kill the
right.
healthy. It kind of kills the unhealthy. It's
It-
specific to those, but
Yeah, because it has clove and oregano, some of the strongest heavy hitters there. And so that's really going to weed out all the bad that we don't want anymore, for like fungal or bacterial overgrowths. And then we want to start to seed that good probiotic in. And then we're going to be feeding. And that's why we're kind of doing these other ones throughout. So that just gives you a little bit of an idea. And this is called doTERRA 30-day cleanse. So if you have any questions about that, you can just do a quick Google search and that should pop up for you.
and if you want, we can even send that to you. If you type in the notes, if you want that, we are more than happy to send that to you so that you can have that access to that. I think, let's see.
Oh, and there was a question.
Yeah, Kim had a question.
Kim, you had with the cystic acne, especially after meat. Yes, so that can be related to the liver. It also can be, the lack of digestive enzymes to help in the breakdown of meats in particular. So it can go hand in hand, liver as well as the pancreas working together. Great question. I can relate. I had cystic acne way back when, and it was rough. Okay, and then DD, yes, we can definitely send that. And then
Kim likes
yes,
all of them.
all the products. Yes,
like them
we
too.
get it. We're with you. Perfect. Okay.
So that was what we were talking about with the reset. We already showed you that slide. So
okay. Yes.
So Crystal
Got
is,
excited.
yeah, she's getting ahead. All right. So we want to leave you with this thought again. A healthy digestive system helps our food go in us instead of just through us. So make sure that you're doing the right things to make sure to make sure that the food is actually getting into your system and helping you thrive. If you're not digesting properly, if you don't have healthy organs, you're not going to be able to have the nutrition, or what we talked about earlier. Nutrition being obtaining the food necessary for health and growth. So that's what we would leave you with, is just think on that. And if you're not feeling that, pay attention, be mindful about these things that we're talking about. Oh, I'm feeling this. I'm feeling right after I eat, I feel some discomfort right away, some pain. Okay, maybe I need to work on my stomach.
Or if it's later, it's more gas.
Right, I'm getting more gas. Pay attention to these things. Or if you're starting to have some problems with your liver, get on that, because that's something you can totally avoid having problems and complications down the road.
Or medications.
You're not going to need that if you're proactive. So we want to be able to help you. We love doing these classes. We love being able to empower you with more information so that you feel like you can take control of your own health, because that's really what it's about, is you being in charge of you and living the best life possible. So we're so happy to be with you. Are there any questions that anyone had that we can answer?
Yes,
I had a question.
I do.
Okay.
Let's see.
Can we go
Okay.
Rose first, and then I didn't know who said it after. Let's go Rose first, and then.
Okay, I'm taking the 30-day Life Vitality right now. I started, and then I've been taking also the one that Pearly and Crystal talk about my high blood pressure. Can I also take this thing at the same time?
Thankfully,
The one that you mentioned?
Yes.
Yes, thankfully, as you might have seen in that chart, they layer.
I need the charts. Give me the chart.
Okay,
We'll send
we'll
you the
get you the chart.
Yep.
Okay.
Thankfully, they layer well together.
Yep.
But we'll
Okay.
look at the specific ones that you've got, and yeah, I'm sure that will work well. They work very
Okay.
synergistically. So good question. And
I'm really sold with your product.
oh,
I've been telling my husband about it.
oh, that's so great. That's what happens is
It's
we
so-
get
yeah.
better and we get hooked
Yes,
and we share because it's like we want everyone to feel good and do it naturally.
I
And
really feel so great when
Yeah.
he started that vitality and the DDR.
Oh, we're
that's
so glad.
So awesome.
Thank you.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you, Rose. You're so
We're
sweet.
so
Thank
glad.
you.